A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit, and found none. Then he said to the dresser of his vineyard, Behold, these 3 years I came seeking for fruit on the fig tree, and find none. Cut it down. Why cumbereth it the ground? And he answered, said, and he answering said to him, Lord, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig about it, and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well, and if not, then after that, then thou shalt cut it down. Boom, just like that. What does that mean? What does that mean to me? Take time, be patient, allow the fruits of your labor to blossom. No need to give up so early. Yeah, I know firsthand that it can be difficult to stay consistent with something, especially if you had like really grand, big ideas about it when you first got into it. Maybe it was a sport you're trying out, maybe it's a hobby, a business. You think, oh, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I'll be amazing at this and I'll be making money, or I'll achieve a certain level of recognition or get what I want out of it. When in reality, that's not the case. And one, that's sort of a flawed mindset going into it, because it's like, why try to gain some external things out of it? It's really about the soul if we take a serious look at it. It's really about the work that the work does on you, not about what you get out of the work. But nonetheless, even if you are seeking those external things or those things for the soul, it might seem like things aren't moving. It might seem like you've gone in a big circle or you're wasting your time, when in reality, it's almost like you haven't given it enough time, if you will. Great things, I feel like, take a lot of time. And I know I'm not saying anything new. I know I'm not, well, clearly I'm not saying anything new, because it's right here in the Bible. Basically saying, good things take time. The fruit of your labor takes time to sort of blossom, if you will. So what sort of mindset can we adopt in the meantime while we're waiting for our business to grow, to get more skilled at our hobbies, to learn a new skill, to go through schooling, or achieving your dream physique? What kind of mindset can we really tap into to sort of make this process seamless? And something that's helped with me, and by no means am I a supreme athlete or the most wealthy businessman or anything like that, but I feel like in my life I've achieved, I've seen myself progress a little bit, at least in some things. And sort of what helped me is the focus on the now, is the focus on what can I do today to get myself closer to my goal. And as long as I'm doing the thing day in and day out, that's all that matters. It's like, if I want to save more money, all I gotta do, the only thing I gotta do is just spend less and earn more. And then that's a win. Maybe I don't have the $1,000,000. Maybe I don't have the $10,000 or the $1,000 or whatever it may be. It's like the thing that is the win is simply the act of spending less and saving more. It's like, that is the win, because you can sort of exercise that muscle. Maybe you spend $99 but earn $100 in the day. It's like, okay, that's not great, that's not fantastic, but it's at least you're working that muscle. At least you're not spending the $100 and earning the 99, if you will. And slowly but surely, you can start to sort of widen that gap, and then begin to see the progress accelerate. Widen that gap to $150 earned and 50 spent, or $10 spent and 1,000 earned, or whatever it is, and sort of widen that gap. And it's the same thing that goes with sports. It's like, if all one has to do is just show up and train harder and eat healthier by cutting out a copious amount of junk food. I'm not going to say cutting out all junk food, but a copious amount of junk food, and just training more, then it's like simply just showing up and training is the win. It's like, whatever happens at the tournament, whatever happens, happens. That's not the win. The win is just showing up. The win is just being there. And failure is an illusion. Failure is not real. There is no such thing as a fail in life. It's like the biggest fail you could ever imagine is always, it's redeemable. It's redemptive, if you will, and it's not even real. Fail is just living. It's just life. Neither is winning. I'd say winning's more real than failing. That's all I gotta say on that. Winning's nice, failing's not real. That's what it is. Because it's not failing, it's learning. It's not losing, it's learning. And winning's winning. I don't know if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. The real ones know. The real athletes, not the real athletes, but the competitors know. The competitors know what I mean. You don't lose, you learn. But yeah, to kind of go back to this Luke 13 here, the man, he planted a fig tree and he got annoyed with it. He was like, why is this fig tree not giving me the figs that I want? It's been 3 years, and 3 years is interesting because that's like a common amount of time when a lot of people start to give up. That they commit to something hard for 3 years, they go all in on it, and then when it's not getting them what they want, they usually give up. And then the person that was tending the fig tree or helping him said, like, let me throw some dung on it. Let me throw some dirt and watch it bloom. And that's another interesting sort of metaphor there. You can almost think of it like when you throw the dung, when you're willing to go through dung, to be buried in dung is when the fruits come forth. And you might be thinking, Austin, have you lost your rockers? But bear with me for a second, okay? It's like, in order to see the fruit blossom, you can't just sit there. You can't just be lazy and not water the tree. Everybody knows this. You water the tree, you water the plant. It gets some sunlight, but people forget about the dung. People forget about the grit, the grind. You always hear about, the sunlight and the water and it blooms and it's so beautiful, but you forgot to throw on the dung. That's the real accelerator there. That's the real fertilizer for growth, is going through that dung pit, if you will, is where the real growth happens. It's almost like you can't really grow without those roots in the gutters, without those roots in the grime. It's like that's some potent fuel right there. That's some potent fertilizer, if you will. And you can almost apply that to like finances or sports or anything. It's like, you don't know what you have until you've lost it all. Like you don't know, as far as I can tell, it's like you don't really get to cherish, I guess, finances, if you will, until you've seen it all go to the dung, until you've seen it all go to the dung hole, and then you got to build up from there. Or even fitness or like athletics. It's like nobody just wins forever. Nobody just constantly wins. There's always that pit, that dung hole, that... Actually, that's probably a bad word, the dung hole. That's probably a bad image, but that pit of dung, if you will, that you sort of fall into when maybe you get caught by surprise and don't get the win that you're expecting, or even just training. And training's not fun. It's not like some beautiful thing. It's actually pretty grimy. It's pretty gross, but you go through that and then you come out the other side with the fruit of your labor, if you will. And then it also says, and if it bear fruit, well, that's good. And if not, then cut it down. Sometimes we might try to hold on to something too hard. Maybe it's that investment that we put so much into and it's just not paying off and it doesn't look like it's going to pay off. Or maybe it's some old dreams of, being a rock star or something, or an NBA player, and it's not really lining up with your life at this moment, and you put a lot into it, but sometimes you kind of just got to put it to the side, cut the tree down and move forward, you know, clear the way and put your time into something that will be fruitful, something that will pay off. And to sort of gauge that is really up to the individual. You don't want to stop too early, but you don't want to put too much into something and not have it pay off in the long run, if you will. But yeah, I know this video was kind of fast paced. It was kind of all over the place, but really had a lot on my mind today. Maybe I'll just keep going, man. Maybe I won't stop. Interesting. Another part. I say to you, except you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receives me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. Interesting. So I've heard this kind of idea, this sort of topic of like becoming like children, if you will. I mean, it's kind of foreign to me. It doesn't really make sense. Maybe because I'm 23 and my brain's sort of kind of like, you know, you want to be an adult, you know, you got to grow up, adult, be a man in this world, that kind of stuff. But there is this sort of like notion of having humility, you know, having that spirit of play, that spirit of letting go as a child would, a sort of innocent look on the world. It's almost as if when we grow up, you know, we see too much. Our eyes become, you know, our mind gets warped. Our mind gets corrupted by the world. And I guess the goal is, or the ideal is, to sort of pass through that darkness, to see the world for what it really is, and to still kind of come back around and still have that playful spirit, to have that lightheartedness, that innocent but not naive outlook on the world, if you will. And I guess it'd be kind of a hard topic to sort of juggle as a young man. I know a lot of young men watch this channel, but I do feel like it's important. I do feel like a lot of us tend to get in this cycle of, you know, trying to improve so much, trying to, you know, sort of box ourselves in and become rigid and super focused and just, you know, trying to grind. But while we're doing that, we sort of lose that spirit of play, if you will. We lose that lightness, that grace that is stated here, that is so important. And that humility too. We start to think we're more important than we really are. We start to forget about God and put materialistic gain first. We start to put, you know, the intellect above God, and start to think that we can outthink God and all this kind of stuff, when in reality, you know, the child is closer to God than we all are. The child is uncorrupted. The child is innocent. Hasn't been tainted by sin, and the child trusts in its intuition, trusts in God knowingly or unknowingly. And to get back to that state of pure intuition, but to not regress, to not literally regress, but to progress through life, to see for what it really is, and to still sort of carry that lightheartedness is actually a sign of strength, and I feel like is the process of life, and what I kind of got out of that, or at least what it reminded me of, that section of the Bible there. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found value in it. Stay creative, do take care, and subscribe.